What exactly happens when a death is found to be undetermined? So, if the police or even a jury can't quite figure out if a person was killed or if they committed suicide? Well, in the case of Kayla Seago, absolutely nothing happens. Kayla passed away 8 years ago, and her case has still been left with so many unanswered questions and leaving her family with absolutely no closure. There are so many inconsistencies and odd details in this case that make you wonder why the police did not investigate this more. A lot of the questions and a lot of the main issues that I'm going to be going over are things that you would think the police can easily figure out. But for some reason, even 8 years down the line, they have no answers for this family. I was contacted by Kayla's sister in hopes that I could bring more awareness to this case. And as soon as I read some of the details of what happened, I knew I needed to help her bring some type of awareness. If even one person sees this video or hears about this case that could possibly help in any way at all, that is what I'm hoping for. I will be linking Kayla's sister's TikTok page in the description below, so please, if you have an extra minute, go check out her account and watch her videos. She has several very detailed videos on this case. And of course, before I get into any details of this case, I'd like to take a moment to send my sincerest condolences to any loved ones or family members of Kayla Seago. On January 11th of 2015 in Winnebago County, Illinois, at approximately 4:15 a.m., 911 received a call for a hanging victim that was not breathing. Police arrived on scene and were met with Kayla's boyfriend, Billy Opsahl, whose legal name is actually William. Her and Billy were in an on-again, off-again relationship, but they did have a very bad domestic violence past. And something important to note is Kayla actually had an active restraining order against Billy at this exact same time. Billy directed the officers downstairs where Kayla was lying on the floor with a black belt around her neck and a chair sitting next to her. The officer noted another piece of black belt hanging from a pipe in the ceiling that did appear it had been cut. When paramedics arrived and observed Kayla, they determined she was beyond resuscitation and she was pronounced deceased at 5:03 a.m. One of the things that Billy made sure to tell the police while they were there that night is that Kayla was very suicidal and that she was taking medication for it. However, it's important to note that no one other than Billy ever heard Kayla say that she was suicidal or even have thoughts of suicide. Police did note that Billy and his friends both had differing stories, so what happened that night according to Billy's friends? According to the friends, Billy was at the friend's house down the street from Kayla's house drinking and playing cards. Kayla showed up to the house sometime between 1:30 a.m. and 2 a.m. It was stated that Kayla stayed for about an hour until she left, so this would leave us to believe that she left sometime between 2:30 a.m. and 3 a.m. Now, the differing part of the story is Billy's friends claim that Kayla only left because her and Billy got into a fight and Billy punched her in the face. This would obviously explain the laceration on her lip when she was found just a few hours later. Now, when police asked Billy what happened, he stated that they were at a friend's house earlier that night. They got into an argument and Kayla came home and started sending him a bunch of text messages that she was going to kill herself. He also claimed that she sent him a photo with a belt around her neck. As he was telling police this story and police asked to see the text messages or the photo, Billy claimed that he didn't have them and that he must have deleted them. Your girlfriend just passed away after sending you several text messages and a photo claiming she was going to commit suicide, and you managed to delete everything before the police got there? Someone make that make sense. Now, eventually, Billy did provide police with a photo of Kayla, and in this photo, Kayla had a black nylon belt around her neck, but she did not have a laceration on her lip. This means that she obviously took a photo before her lip was injured, or somehow her lip was lacerated afterwards. This is another detail that for some reason cannot be confirmed by police. However, if we go by what we know, obviously, we know that Kayla had gotten in a fight with Billy earlier in the night, and Billy, according to Billy's friends, Billy punched Kayla in the face. This would obviously explain a laceration on her lip. But obviously, this was before she went home and started sending all of these text messages and the photo. And in the photo, there is no laceration on her lip, but it suddenly appears again after her body's found. None of that makes sense, and again, this is another thing that police cannot confirm. When Kayla was examined by a coroner, there were several very odd findings in the report. The coroner reported she had a soft tissue hemorrhage of the larynx, which, according to a forensic pathologist, is an unusual finding to be associated with suicidal hangings. However, he did note that this type of injury was not completely unheard of per his experience. Something interesting to note is while I was researching this case, I did find several reports stating that this specific type of injury is much more common in manual strangulation cases than it is in suicidal hanging. It was actually a very, very small percentage, I think less than 5%, that this type of injury occurs with suicidal hangings. The coroner also detailed that Kayla had a lip abrasion, as well as blood on her lip and blood on her hands. All three of these details were never examined further or confirmed where exactly they came from. One of the most shocking details of this coroner report, in my opinion, is the coroner detailed that Kayla came in with a dog leash around her neck. Now, the police incident report states it's a black nylon belt. No one can confirm exactly what it was. The family cannot get access to the picture that Kayla allegedly sent to Billy to confirm exactly what it was, and the police can't even confirm exactly what it was. I find that detail to be really quite incredible, as that should be something so easy to answer. But again, it has been 8 years, and police cannot even answer a simple question as what was around her neck. On August 15th of 2015, a jury in the state of Illinois listened to all of the details regarding the case of Kayla Seago. This jury ruled the death of Kayla as undetermined. This means they cannot determine her exact cause of death, whether it was suicide, homicide, or an accident. So, what happened to Billy? Billy never faced a single charge regarding the death of Kayla Seago. I honestly don't even think he was really investigated that much. And just 2 years later, he attempted to strangle his next girlfriend. On July 16th of 2017, police responded to a home in Rockford, Illinois for a domestic battery incident. The victim told police that they had a former relationship with Billy and that he had forced his way into the home, severely beat up the victim, and attempted to choke her to death. Luckily, the victim did survive in this case. Billy fled the scene. This obviously caused him to be charged with attempted murder. He was on the run for a month until he was found on August 4th of 2017 in Wisconsin. When Billy was finally arrested, he received a 3-year sentence in prison. He has since been released from prison. So let's circle back a little bit and go over some of the main questions and issues that just genuinely do not make sense. What time did Billy leave his friend's house versus what time did he call 911? If the house was just down the street from Kayla's house and he rushed home to go check on her, there should only be a few minutes difference from when he left the friend's house to when he called 911. What we do know is he called 911 at 4:15 a.m. What we do not know is what time he left his friend's house. Kayla allegedly took a photo right before she hung herself and sent it to Billy. She also sent him several text messages saying she was going to kill herself. Both Kayla and Billy's phones were taken into evidence, and neither of them showed any text messages from Kayla that night, especially nothing stating she was going to kill herself. There was also no evidence on Kayla's phone of a photo either. Let's also note that police took Billy's phone into evidence, but for some reason cannot confirm the date and time that the photo was taken or sent to him. Kayla's phone was found in the living room upstairs, and she was found downstairs in the basement. Now, if everything happened exactly how Billy says it happened, that means Kayla was downstairs in the basement sending him a bunch of text messages that she was going to kill herself. Then she gets up on a chair, puts a black belt around her neck, takes a picture, sends it to Billy, deletes all of the text messages and photo, then goes upstairs to put her phone in the living room for some reason, then comes back downstairs to the basement and hangs herself. And she was able to do all of this within the time that Billy got the text messages and came to her house, and she was not breathing at all and beyond resuscitation. So then again, that brings me back to my main point is what time did Billy leave the house? What time did he get these text messages? What time did he get the photo versus what time he called 911? All of these questions I would think would be very easy to answer if police were actually investigating it. The coroner's report states she was hanging from a dog leash. The police report states she was hanging from a belt, neither of which can be confirmed, which is absolutely appalling. And also, there is allegedly a photo of Kayla with a black belt around her neck, but police, for some reason, cannot provide the family with this photo or even confirm if it was a dog leash or a belt. Billy is the only person that has ever heard Kayla claim that she was suicidal or even had suicidal thoughts. She was taking medication, however, this was for anxiety. And you anxiety girlies out there can relate to this. Just because we're taking anxiety medication does not mean we're depressed. And it definitely doesn't mean we want to kill ourselves. And after reading all of these reports, it seems as though police just took this little snippet of what Billy said, that she's been suicidal and she takes meds for it, and kind of just went with it and didn't confirm it with anybody. Not her therapist, not anybody in her groups, not her friends, her family, nobody. They took Billy's word for it. Her autopsy showed the hemorrhage of the larynx, which again, the forensic pathologist did state that this wasn't a completely unusual finding, but again, this does occur a lot more in manual strangulation cases than it does in suicidal cases. And if you get what I'm putting down, things are adding up a lot more to the manual strangulation side. Billy attempted to strangle his next girlfriend 2 years later and was charged with attempted homicide. Some would call that a pattern, but what do I know? Now, I am very curious to hear everyone's opinion on this case. Was this just a crazy, out of the norm situation where someone who absolutely was never suicidal just randomly commits suicide? Or was this a domestic violence situation where Kayla was strangled and it was covered up as a suicide? Unfortunately, it seems as though police can't answer that question, and neither can a jury. As of right now, there are still no answers on what actually happened to Kayla that night, and her family still has no closure and no justice. Now, I am very curious to hear everyone's opinions on this case. Please do not hesitate to leave a comment below. And please, if you have time, go check out the sister's TikTok and please go give her love and support. if you can share any of these videos regarding Kayla Seago and help spread the word so that hopefully her family will get more answers to this insane amount of questions. But that is all for the case today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.